What you're going to do is setting up a seance is you, as the presenter, will set the seance up. You protect the room, you set the room up, you use your vibration, your energy to set it up. You don't allow other people to set it up for you. You don't allow other people to do things for you, because what you're doing is you're setting up your energy into the space and then allowing people to enter your space. So you don't allow, because you really don't know where people are coming from, especially if they've had a bad day or something has happened in their life. You really don't know. So if you protect it yourself, then you know exactly what type of energy that spirit will allow in the room. What I do with my seances, when I have seances, is I will set the chairs out. And usually about 8 to 10 people should be in a seance, 8 to 10. More people make it a little bit more structured, but 8 to 10 work extremely well. And what you do is you set up the tables, the chairs, and you set the chairs up in the room. Then people will enter the room and you'll have them sit. I like trying to keep like a female, male, female, male, female, male, and try to separate. I don't want all the males sitting on one side of the room and all the females on the other side of the room, which it dissipates the energy. It dissipates. So as the person putting it on, you figure out where people should sit, where they should sit in the vibration. And then what you do is I usually have something in the center of the room, something in the center. What I do is I have a table with a trumpet on it, a spiritual trumpet, but you can have like a stone, you can have a little glass ball, you can have something in the center of the room. So it gives people a focus, and it's the center of the vibration, and allows them to focus on something. So what happens is people will ask me, why are seances dark? Why do they have to have the lights out? There's a joke, an old joke years ago. People used to say, how many people that put on seances, how many people does it take to turn the lights on? It doesn't take any of us to turn the lights on because we don't have any lights in the seance. But the question here is actually setting the vibration in the room, setting the vibration in the room. You set a focus in the center of the room, whether it be a trumpet, a crystal ball, a rock, something in the center of the room that you would feel that people would focus on into the center. So you want people sending their energy to the center of the room. The reason I pick people's chairs, and the reason I pick their chairs or put their chairs where I want them to be, so when, let's say the seance lasts for an hour, a little over an hour. When you leave, what I do is I know exactly where you've sat. So what I do is I turn the chairs over and I tape your name to the bottom of that chair. I do. So what happens in the next week or the next time you show up, I will place your chair that you sat in the week before exactly in the same spot it was the week that we had it the week before. So that way, when the circle sets in motion again, you're sitting in the same chair, in the same space within the room. That way, you're doing psychometry. You're doing this psychometry. It's all the focus of energy, the focus of vibration. The more you meditate, the more you sit in one spot, the more the energy will take up, the more the energy will work. So what you do is you put the people's names at the bottom of the chairs. You can always pull them off, just tape the names up there. You don't have to write them in the book, just tape them up there. That way you know exactly who was sitting in that chair the week before. I like wood upholstered chairs better. Metal chairs are okay, but I like natural within the seance room, natural, which works extremely well within the seance room. And what you do is if you're going to smudge the seance room, if you're going to protect it that way, try to do it probably an hour or two before people enter the room. Just close the room off, don't let anybody else in it once you smudge it, but do it about an hour, maybe a little over an hour before people come. So that gives it a chance to it to dissipate, so some people might not really like the smell of smudge really strong within the space that you're doing. So try to do that vibration. But what I do is I go clockwise around the room. So if you enter your room where you're going to have it, go clockwise. Go clockwise because you're sealing the room. You're sealing it. So go clockwise to the four corners of the room. Say any prayer you want. Lord's Prayer, whatever prayer that radiates to you, whatever you feel is balanced to you, and say a prayer. Close the circle in the room, close it, and set your intention. Set your intention of what you would like to see happen in the room. If you're Henry Holt seances, you're probably not going to get a trumpet to move right away. Some people want to do trumpet mediumship. My mother sat for almost 18 months before she could get the trumpet to move. It takes the whole energy of the group. The whole energy of the group has to be synchronized. And it takes time to build the energy to move the trumpet. But once you get it to move, it'll move. It'll fly around the room. It'll do all its stuff. But it takes time. And I've noticed that in time now, in this time we're in right now, people don't really want to sit every week. They don't want to sit and watch. Sit and be quiet. They want it to happen right away, but it doesn't happen that way. Most of the time it goes week after week. That's why spiritualists, that's why when you hold a seance, it's for an 8-week period. 8-week period, you bring people in, they sit in their chairs, and they agree to show up for the 8 weeks, because Spirit's going to use it like a chain. They're going to use my energy, your energy, everybody's energy in a circle. But if you don't show up on a week, what happens is it breaks the chain. Spirit has to regroup. They have to rebalance. They have to reset. Now they have to start building energy again because part of the link is gone. But if you decide to come back the following week, then we have to rebuild again. So it just is constant rebuilding if you don't show up every single week to one. What I do is I have, on my own personal space, I have a cabinet. And a cabinet is what they had in the front of a seance room, a cabinet. And it's a smaller space. A smaller space. I have it behind me on this camera, and on this thing. I have a cabinet behind me in this, what I got the video on, but a camera behind me, it's got black curtains. It's a small little area that I have a chair in, and I can sit and close the curtains. The reason you do it in a smaller space is because your energy doesn't have to expel the whole space. It's just that small space, especially if you're trying to work with Spirit on your own. You have anybody to come over and do a seance with you. It's just you trying to talk to Spirit. So find yourself a small space in your home that you could just sit in, that you could sit. And just sit. Pick a time, like tonight at 7 o'clock, go sit in that space. Go sit in that space. And then the next day, go back at 7 o'clock and go sit in space. Because what you want to do is you want to keep sitting in that space to build the energy, to build the vibration of the space. But in a small space, it takes up less time. So when you're doing this, you're looking for the etheric clouds. A lot of the spiritual songs, a lot of the old spiritual songs, they were called the etheric clouds. The etheric clouds actually start to run in the room. You'll actually see clouds floating in the room, moving at fast speed through the room. Especially when you get to a point, you start seeing the clouds starting to move through the space. You want to get to that. You want to get to that vibration where you're actually seeing these clouds move through the space. And then allow yourself to connect to that and keep focusing your energy on the clouds. But the best part when I teach mediumship, whether I teach mediumship, seance, what you're doing, is find a focus in the room. Find a focus. A focus in the room to keep your attention. Don't look all over the room. Don't try to watch the ceilings and watch the walls and watch the floors. No. Keep a focus and just watch what's going on in your peripheral vision off to the side. Just watch. Turn your head, jerk your head. See, people miss Spirit a lot. Is when they see something, all of a sudden they jerk their head real quick, or they move real quick to see what it is. What happens is you break the energy, you break the vibration of the energy, and it disappears. If you just move slowly to see exactly what you're looking at, it will start to keep its focus within the vibration. So when you're looking at something, when you're propelling something or putting something in motion, pick a focus in the room. Pick a focus. And keep your focus there, but watch what's going off to the side. Just keeping your head still, watching. Because you'll see these little clouds. You'll see these lights, these flickers of lights in the room. Flickers. The reason you do it in the dark, you're going to be trustworthy, everything, because you want to build the ectoplasm within the space. Everybody would love to see a full body apparition appear in your space and go, "Good morning, how are you?" That's what you're really looking for. You're looking for spirit to appear in the room in full body, or have voices come out of the side of the room, or have things happen that someone's talking. They have these new things now that people have these voice boxes, and they're letting the radio go through all these little things, and all of a sudden a word will come up and go, oh my God, listen to that. I really want to get back to kind of the old days. I try to look for the old days is when you sit in the space, and out of the corner of the room, you can hear your mother's voice or your father's voice or someone's voice that you would have known talking to you in full voice, without using a machine, without using anything else. You hear the voices in the room. You hear them. You hear the voices. And that's really where you want to get to with this, and be practicing with it. Because if you protect, and I'm saying you have to protect yourself, craziness. Don't throw don't throw salt over your shoulder and do a little weird little dance and do all kinds of crazy stuff. Just tell all your guides what you expect. Have a clear thought of what you're looking for. What are you really looking for? Apparitions? You want sound? What are you really looking for in the seance? What are you looking for spirit to do? I used to have a friend of mine who used to he'd have a telephone and have little rods, and then he'd have some kind of violin in the room, and he had something else, and he had something else, and it was just too much. And you scatter spirit, you scatter them, you scatter the vibration. So if you're working with spirit and you want spirit to do some kind of writing, then get some slates. Slates are just two chalkboards put together, and there's a chalk that's put in the center of it. You lay it in a room and try to have spirit to write something in those slates. Spirit boxes are really cool to have in a seance room. Really cool, because you get a box, just a plain wood box. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be that big, huge box. Cigar boxes used to work when I was a kid. And you put some little pieces of paper and some pencils in there, and you close the box, and you put it in your seance room, or put it where you meditate. What happens is, after you go back there in a week or 2 weeks, you'll actually see there'll be little small writings or something on the piece of the paper, which is really kind of cool, because Spirit's trying to write. They're trying to put things on paper for you. So those little spirit boxes, little cigar box, little wooden box that you can block the light out of, and just put some pencils and some stuff in there and some little pieces of paper, and just leave it. And you get yourself your own little spirit box. Your own little personal little spirit box where spirit can write, so they can put things in vibration. Because I actually have a large one in my room where I actually do readings, and I just keep it there, just so in case spirit wants to write something, in case they want. And I've had things written out. I've had things, hello, how are you today? I've had things been written out on these pieces of paper. So spirit does write. Every once in a while, my wife will get in there and just write something really cool, and then I'll pick it up and I'll open it up and say, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God!" She'll just smirk and laugh, and so my wife likes to play little jokes on my little spirit box. But I know when spirit's writing. So they start off really small, like you almost have to take a magnifying glass to look at it, but you'll actually see letters. You'll actually see letters on that. In my room, I have a large mirror. I have a large mirror in my closet. I have a large mirror in my cabinet where I sit. And what happens with a mirror is it's called mirror gazing. And it's like mirror gazing. So you're gazing into the mirror to see if spirit is moving. And every time I sit in my cabinet, I can see people moving in the mirror. I can see energy and vibration and lights moving within the mirror, and and fog and stuff running down through the mirror, running down. So there's a lot of energy within that space where I sit and I meditate. So you have to find your space, what vibrational space that you feel is best for you. But you don't want other people sitting there, because if they sit in there and somebody has a really bad energy and they sit in your space, then when you go back to sit in it, they've broken all kinds of energy that you brought into that space. When I was younger, I used to have a walk-in closet in a large apartment I had, and I had a wood chair I bought, a fold-up wood chair. And when I wanted to meditate or get in contact with spirit, I would close the door in the closet, which would put me in a dark, small, dark space. I would pull out my wood chair that nobody sat in, and I would sit in it. And when I was done, I'd fold the chair back up and put it back in the corner of the closet. That way, no one sat in the chair. No one messed with that chair. Every time I sat in it, I placed more energy, my energy, into the space. Same thing with my reading chair that I read out of. Nobody else sits in the chair, only me. Same thing with my meditation chair. I'm the only one that sits in that chair, because I want to make sure the energy stays pretty clear for me, what I'm actually looking for spirit to do. You want voices out of the room. You want direct voice. You want direct voice without using any kind of tools. And I like not using tools to have spirit work. If you're going to work with trumpets, and you're going to do a spiritual trumpet and have it in the room, you're probably not going to get it to move right away. You're not going to get things. You'll get smoke coming out of the top of it. You'll have different things going on with the trumpet. Might not get it to move. What I've done is I take a small recorder. It just has to be a small recorder. And I turn it on record, and I put it on the table, and I slip the trumpet over the recorder. I slipped it over the recorder. And what happens when I slip that over the recorder during the seance, then when I get done with the seance, I play back that on my computer, and I can hear voices and binging and all kinds of stuff within the trumpet. I might not hear it outside the trumpet when I'm sitting there, but there is a lot of noise going on inside the trumpet while I'm sitting in seance. So you're looking for that energy, the vibration of building, the vibration of energy. And the space has to be kind of clear for you, whatever you feel is best. You don't want to meditate right in front of the television set, and that's your meditation room. You want to find a space that you get comfortable with. I have clients that tell me, oh, Lewis, when I lay down to go to sleep, that's when I meditate. But I fall asleep. Well, because your bed, your vibration where you lay down, that is what it's for. It's for you to lay down and go to sleep. So your body is actually telling you, go to sleep. Sit on the side of the bed with your feet still attached to the floor. Meditate. If you go to bed every night at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, whatever time you go to bed, you usually just sit on the side of the bed for a few minutes before you go to sleep. It only takes a few minutes to tell spirit that you're actually wanting to speak to them. Then lift your feet up and go to bed. What you do is you take your meditative state into your dream state. So you're doing both those. You're taking meditation into your dream state. So you're actually encouraging both of them. But in the seance room is this clear space. Not a lot of junk in it. Don't clutter it with God knows what. Have just enough stuff in the space to allow spirit to work with it, to work with the space. And once you put the stuff in the space and you have your space set up as your seance room, leave it. Don't be moving and changing all the energy in the space. Leave it for what it is. If you wanted it in the room, there's a purpose it was put in the room. Don't start moving stuff around, because what you do is you start throwing the energy off. You start throwing the vibration of the energy off. When you set your meditative space, keep it like it is. Give it at least 8 weeks before you decide to move something. If Spirit wants you to move something out of space, they will show you. They will be very precise to you that they don't like that in the space. I have a cool, because years ago when I was young, my mother attended a seance, large seance, and in the seance they put black paper in the middle of the room with white chalk. And during the seance you could see the white chalk moving. And you could hear somebody on the side of the room go, and they called out my mother's name and said, "We're going to draw your guides." So it was dark in the room, and this happened. You could see the chalk moving. And all of a sudden, when the lights came back on, there was these 2 pictures of these 2 guides on black paper that actually were drawn in the middle of a seance room. And we did have red light on, so you could see if anybody got up and moved. So there was nobody moving, but you could see the chalk moving. You could see it moving, and making marks on these pieces of paper. I still have these two pictures in my seance room, in my reading room, my seance room. I have them here. But when I turn off the lights, or if I take a picture, like I take a camera, take a picture, and I turn the lights off, and I take a picture of these pictures, you can see people's faces in them. There's people's faces, actually, facial looking at me from these pictures. Do I think they're haunted? No. I just think Spirit likes them. So I have them. And the cool story about that is my mother got divorced from my father, but the pictures disappeared. They disappeared. And years later, I saw them on the internet. I said, they look like my mother's pictures. So I bought them. The frames came, and one of the frames broke. Because they were all put together. One of the frames broke, and right in the back of it, it had my mother's name, which was kind of cool. And I got them back, and they now hang in my room. But the question is, if Spirit wants something in your space, they will produce it or propel it within your space. If you're going to get something from someone says, oh my God, I'm going to give you something, make sure that you clear it before you bring it into your space. Smudge it, put it out in the sun, do some sea salt, whatever you want to do with it, clear the vibration. Don't bring crazy into your space. We had a lady come into our group, and she wanted to bring this brick in. I said, where's the brick from? She said, oh, it's from a psychiatric hospital that they closed. There was a murder in this hospital. A lot of the patients died, and I want to bring the brick in to see if we can feel any energy with it. I said, no. You're not bringing that into my seance room. Oh, God, no. Because God knows what you're going to pull with that brick, what's attached to that, what is attached to that vibration. So you really want to know what you're bringing into the space and what's attached to it. So you want to just clear it. You want to clear it and make it yours. Just like you would a stone or any kind of mineral or any kind of stone, you want to clear that vibration. And then set up your space where you feel, you feel comfortable with it. Everybody in the world doesn't need to be comfortable with your space. You have to look at it and go, I like it. My wife looks at my space, she goes, oh my God, Lou, you got way too many pictures and stuff in here. Well, I like them. Because these people in these pictures look at me. They watch what's going on in here. I like these pictures in my space. On top of that, I have a museum here for Casadega, so I can't give these to the museum because I don't have one here, so I have it in my home. So I have a lot of these pictures on the wall that belong to the older mediums and older people that used to be in the work. So it's all on my wall, all around my space where I am. So you have to realize it, but you have to feel comfortable with it. You have to work well with the space. Work well with the space. So when you do seance, you sit in the room. Before anybody gets there, you set the chairs up. You do your protection prayer around the space, close the space, and go sit in the room for a little bit. Kind of put your energy into the space. I like putting music on in the space. I like having music played in the space before people come. Having that music play on a loop, just have it keep playing in the space. Spirit really loves religious songs. Amazing Grace, How Great Thou Art. They really like spiritual songs. So playing some kind of spiritual music, and I found in my day, it might not work for you, might not work for other people here, but I really like the Gaither music from Bill Gaither. He's a big Christian person, and he plays a lot of music, a lot of Christian music, and I like taking his music and just letting it play in the room. Spirit just gets crazy with it. They just love that music as I'm having it played long before people come here into the space to sit in the seance room. And you want to get to the point that Spirit appears in the room. I give you some of the instances that have happened in my life, and give you a little few instances that have happened in my life. When I was younger, I was in Chesterfield, Indiana, large spiritualist camp up in Chesterfield, and my mother attended a seance up there. And she told me, and the gentleman that was holding on the seance said that he didn't allow children in the space. My mother talked to him and said, he's not going to hurt anything, he's going to sit in the back. He said, I don't want her messing with the space. So I sat in the back of the room while they were having the seance. And then in the middle of the seance, it was probably not more than 20 minutes into the seance, this little girl dropped out of the ceiling. You could see her. And that was the first time that I saw spirit, that everybody else in the room saw what I saw. And she floated, almost like literally floated down to the floor. And walked through all the adults and walked to the back of the room and looked at me and said, "Good morning, Lou. How are you today?" And she dissipated. And boy, were the adults mad, because they wanted her to talk to them, but she talked to me in the back of the room. And that was one of the first experiences I had in a seance room, was with that little girl dropping out of the ceiling. I've had a lot of experiences with voices coming out of the side of the room. I've had people come out of the side of the room playing trumpets. I had Louis Armstrong play a trumpet in the center of the room. You could see the outline of his body and the trumpet as he was playing a song that he was famous for. A lot of the things have happened in seance rooms that when people meet, when they look at people. My wife attended one with me, and her brother appeared in front of her in a seance room, talked to her, told her things that only she knew, and touched her, and she could see his ring that he wore when he was on this earth plane. So a lot of the stuff that appears in a seance room, it's allowing spirit to move forward. And as long as you keep it above board and you really aren't trying to mess with spirit, you're not trying to fake it, spirit will show up. Spirit will show up to the party. They will show up. And they will show up. And I've noticed that my whole life. When my father got cremated, and I had him cremated, and about a month and a half later, I went to a seance in Miami. And I was sitting there, and they were having a trumpet seance. And I was kind of concentrating on my father. I wanted to hear from my father if he was around. And during the trumpet seance, the trumpet came all the way around me, all the way around the room. You could see it floating. It came right in front of me. And I could hear my father's voice come out of the trumpet go, "Put your hand out." I said, "Really?" So I put my hand out, and out of that trumpet fell my father's wedding ring. And it had his inscription on it. The whole thing was on his wedding ring that I had cremated with him. Fell out of that trumpet in a seance room. So there's a lot of things that vibration of seeing that. I've seen spirit walk through the room, talk to people, watch people, and the people will be able to see them manifesting within the space. And that's where you want to get. You want to get to a point that they're manifesting within the space. They're not going to take you to the other side. They're not going to drag you out of the room. They wanted to come and help. I have a teaching that I do with guides. And remember, you have all these guides, 10 to 15 that follow you. You handpicked them. You stood on the other side. You stood at that level. You said, "I want you, 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 you." And you picked all these people to follow you here to this earth plane. So they are your guides. They are your protectors, your guides, your confidants. They follow you. They've got your best interest at heart. So they follow you through this lifetime. Now, they try to stop you from doing things crazy in your life, but they can't make you stop. They can only insinuate and hope to God, and they put things in your path to make you try to push you in a different direction, but they cannot take away your free will and choice. You still have free will and choice. So the question here is listening to what they're trying to tell you. But remember, your guides are always protecting you. They're always on duty. They're always trying to protect you. They're always trying to guide you and protect you through this life. So you really want to see how that is going, how Spirit's trying to work with you. And I have people tell me, Louis, I do not see Spirit. Do not hear them. I don't see them. What you're talking about, I don't get that. Well, Spirit has different ways of talking to people. It's when you're walking in your life and you're needing some information in your life. What you're doing is you're watching to see what Spirit does. What you're doing is you're watching to see what they do. What are they doing? Do you drive out of your house and you see a tag from Philadelphia, and you go, oh, Philadelphia. Get in the store, there's somebody in the store with a name on their shirt from Philadelphia. Pick up a book, start reading it. Where is it published? Philadelphia. Somebody enters your life, says, oh, by the way, I'd love to speak to you. I've got something I'd like to discuss with you. Oh, by the way, I'm from Philadelphia. You watch. You watch what's going on, what's happening in the vibration. It's the same thing when you're in a seance room. You're putting the intention out to the spirit world. What are you really looking for? What are you really wanting spirit to talk to you about? What do you really want them to talk? You want them to be direct voice? You want them to appear in the room? What are you looking for? What are you looking for? And who are you looking for? Who would you like to show up? Who would you like to show up? You don't want your worst enemy, the person you didn't like in this earth plane, to show up in the room. You want who would you like to show up in the room, in the space? Ask for that. Ask for that. Set your priorities of what you're looking for before you enter the seance room, before you enter that. Don't go haphazardly into the seance room and say, well, whatever happens, happens. No, no, no. You state to them what you're looking for. What do you expect from them? What do you expect to see? To allow them to go work on it. Allow them to go propel that energy in front of you. And then pick a focus in the room. I said in one of these classes, just get a candle, put the center room, and stare at it. When your attention wavers, you stare back at the candle. When it wavers again, stare back at the candle. You keep staring back at the candle until your mind doesn't waver. The candle is a focus. That's all it is. It's a focus. Whether it's a candle, crystal ball, a rock, a trumpet, whatever it is, it's in the room. You're focusing on it. But you're watching what's going on around the sides of you. The lights, the different things going on, the shadows, the different things that are moving. And as you keep your focus, while you keep your focus, that starts to open up. It starts to have the etheric clouds. And when you first see this, when you first are sitting in your room and you're meditating and you've got your eyes open and the space is dark and you're just sitting there and you're getting quiet and you're breathing and you're allowing spirit to work with you and you have your eyes open. And when you first see the etheric clouds, you're going to go, oh my God, that's cool. You're going to go, oh my God, that's cool. Because that's what I did when I first saw them. I was just running at me, these clouds just coming through the room as fast as they could. And you could see people moving within the clouds. It reminds you of the old movie that's on television, was The Fog. Well, these aren't the crazy people from The Fog, but it's like the fog coming in. It's like this fog coming in, and there are people wandering around in the fog. And I just think that is the coolest thing that I've ever seen in my life, doing this work. And I watched that energy facilitate itself within the space, and then have a table tipping or have a table within the space. Now you could have a large round table and it fit like 6 to 8 people around the table, and you can put your hands on the table and sit there in quiet and see what happens. But there should be a focal point. Most seances will have a table in the seance in the middle of the room. People focus on the table. Have a trumpet. Have something in the center of the room. I have a friend of mine who does seances, and he has an old antique telephone, and he has that in the center of the room. So people could focus on it. See if somebody will call on that phone. See if they will call on that phone. So the question is, you're looking for something, because Spirit works extremely well with electronics. They do. Old phones, old stuff, they like turning it on. Old phonographs, different things, they love turning it on. They love turning the music on, turning stuff on, changing the channels, doing all kinds of stuff with electricity, electronics. They just love that because they're allowed to go in there and mess with the energy of the space. They're putting something in the space that you would think, oh my God, they'll turn that on. But the reason you're doing this is to connect to someone that you love. I connect to my father, connect to my mother, my brother, different people that are in the spirit world. I connect to them through sitting in my space. Whether you're sitting in a vibrational space, or whether you're sitting in a connection to a space or a vibration Remember that everything around you that's your space. That's your connection. That's your vibration. Remember that. So set the space up for you that makes you feel comfortable. Remember, I've said in classes before, having a plant in the room, one plant, is like having 5 people in the space meditating with you. 5 people. So if you have one plant, it's like having 5 people meditate with you. We're not talking the plastic plants that you buy at the store. We're talking a live plant. Have a live plant put into space. Have a live plant put into space. And when you have that thing in the space, you can have a couple plants. It's like having 10 people. But put live plants in your meditative space. Have a rock or a stone. Now, major rocks work really well, like amethyst. Pink quartz is a love rock. Amethyst works really good. Tourmaline works really good. That works extremely powerful. Tourmaline works really well. So find a rock that appeals to you. But it should vibrate at a high rate. It should vibrate at a high rate, and that'll be extremely powerful if you do some kind of stone. But that stone stays in your space. It doesn't go somewhere else. You don't take it somewhere else. That stays in your meditative space. So that stone will collect the energy. It will collect the vibration. It will collect the energy that you're putting into space. Because you're looking to build the energy in that space. You're looking to build the vibration. You're looking to build it. By doing your personal space, doesn't mean you have to invite the world to your house to have a seance. What you're doing is you're working on it. If you find a small space in your home that you can sit, turn up the lights. You don't have to get it completely pitch black dark, but get it as dark as you can, and just sit. Sit in the space. Sit in the vibrational space, and then just sit there. Because you can sit there with your eyes open and just breathe. Breathe. In your energy field, just breathe. And when you breathe, when you propel that in vibration, you allow yourself to move to a higher level, a higher connection of energy, a higher connection of vibration. So, as you move up and get to a higher level, you stay there. And that's all through breath. It's not through anything else. It's all through breath. So when you're breathing, you raise your vibration. If you stop breathing or you stop doing your repetition of breathing, you drop out of the vibration. You drop out of the energy. So focus on your breathing. Focus on how you breathe. Focus on the vibration of breath. Then you keep yourself in that, I call the cradle. I mean, we'll call it the cradle. You're kind of floating with spirit. You're kind of just moving with spirit when you're doing it. So when you're doing that and allowing yourself to be in that cradle, you're in that realm. You're in that vibrational realm. That's why you keep the focus, because you don't want to go off looking at God knows everything in the room. It will scatter your energy. It will scatter the vibration. So as I said, if you had a whole bunch of stuff in the realm, you say, oh my God, I hope they move. I hope they do. I hope they do the trumpet. Oh my God, I hope they do the phone. Oh my God, I hope they ring the bell. Oh my God, too much stuff. Way too much stuff. Have a focusal energy in your space on one thing. If you have a spirit box and you put a spirit box in the center room, you want everybody to focus on the spirit box. Not on the trumpet, not on the phone, not on everything else, spirit box. Have them focus on that. You want to have everybody focus on one thing, because if you have 8 people in a space and you meditate on something, you go, whoa. And then somebody else is meditating on something else, and somebody else is meditating on something else, and now you have a little bit of, it's a little scattered. And then you have all this scattered energy within the space, and people leave the seance and go, oh my God, nothing happened. Well, because everybody was off in their own little realm, their own vibration, their own realm. So you have to realize that sitting in seance is like a privilege to me, I think, with spirit, because you get a chance to sit with them. Sit with them and communicate with spirit. Communicate with spirit. When I teach classes, I have people take, you have bathrooms in your home, you have bathrooms, you have a mirror in the bathroom. Get yourself a Waldorf candle, a little small one. Wait till it gets dark outside. And actually put the candle next to the mirror and step away from the mirror just so you can just barely make your face out. Stare at your face. You're going to notice your face is going to change. It's going to transfigure. It's going to have different faces. You'll get long hair. You'll have no hair. You'll have all kinds of stuff will happen with your face. And these are past lives. I had a teacher tell me these are past lives. These are guides. These are people that have had a strong connection to you. These are you, different vibrations, different energies. But it is you. And you're looking at your face roll. Call it rolling, but it's like when spirit transfigures over you or overshadows you. Pulls up so close in your auric field that they are overshadowing you. So you're watching to see how your face changes. You're going to watch too, if you learn how to do that a little bit. When you're sitting in a space, in a darkened space, if you have a small red light on, I always have a small red light on in my space, but if you have a small red light, you'll be able to just barely make out people's faces in the room. And you're going to see their faces transfigure. Them sitting in the space, faces transfiguring. And the space, because spirit is overshadowing, you're stepping very nice and very close to the circle. So a lot of this is energy, the vibration of energy, of uplifting the energy, of propelling it to a higher vibration, and keeping the energy at a nice, comfortable space. That's why when you set the chairs and you have everybody's name under it, you want everybody to sit in the same spot. I always keep like a bell, one bell. I keep the trumpet, the one trumpet. And I have some drumsticks that light up. If you touch them, they'll light up. And I have them sitting on the table with the trumpet. So if spirit decides to move the trumpet or move the drumsticks, you're going to see the drumsticks light up. You're going to see them light. Same thing if they ring the bell. You either have a bell, you have a tambourine hanging on the wall, something that they can ring, something they can rattle it. And if you hear knocks, raps in the room, when the Fox sisters had raps in the room, they would ask the spirit questions and go, is this spirit? Once for yes, twice for no. And then you would see if the rap would come back and just tap once. Okay, this is spirit. Is this spirit for somebody here? And then if it came back and rapped again, then you have an intelligence. It's trying to speak to you. The seance room here in Casadega, we had water coming down the side of the building, so it made this dripping sound. So inside the room, it felt like somebody was rapping. And so you thought, oh my God, Spirit started to talk to us. We started asking questions and never really gave us a good answer. And we found out that it was the water running down the side of the building actually making the noise. It wasn't spirit. So you discern the spirit. You discern them. If you hear rapping, ask them questions. Ask questions. So you know, if this is spirit, I need you to rap twice, or I need you to make 2 raps or 1 rap. I need you to rap twice right now. And see what happens. If nothing happens, it's not spirit. It's not spirit. Spirit will rap. Spirit will knock on the wood. They will make noises. They will speak to you. They will speak to the vibration. When we used to have a seance room when I was young, we used to sit in the seance room, and when I was sitting in the seance room, I used to keep notes of the vibration of the table. And I had a piece of paper, and my mother would say, we're going to have spirit talk to us. So the table would rock, and it would bang out letters of the alphabet. 1 rap was for, when the table rocked once, it was an A. If it rocked 10 times, it was another letter. If it run 20 times, it was another letter. And we went through the alphabet, and it might have taken us about an hour to get like a sentence and a half, maybe 2 sentences. And within an hour and a half, you'd have something very legible written on the piece of paper that Spirit was trying to say to us from the spirit world, because the rapping would work. It would rap for once, no rap. So if you're touching a wood table in the center of the room with your seance and you got everybody's hand on the table, you're probably going to hear raps. You're going to hear knocking. You're going to hear noises within the vibration of the table. So ask Spirit. Talk to them. Don't be afraid to speak to them, because people get afraid to speak to Spirit. They just get Spirit in the room, and oh my God, they get like ghosts. They get so quiet, and they don't talk. They don't speak. You speak to them, talk to them. Say, okay, you're here for me. Why? Tell me what you want me to know. Speak to them. Allow them to work with you. But the question here is, when you go to a seance, or you're attending a seance, or you're a part of a seance, make sure you're comfortable when you walk in the room. The person hasn't protected the space. The person hasn't worked on the space. They haven't protected it. And you start to walk into the space and you get sick to your stomach. It's just not connecting to you. Go home. It's not your space. Spirit wants you there. They will move heaven and earth. They will place you in there. They'll make you feel awesome. But if you're not feeling awesome, it doesn't quite fit the vibration for you. Maybe it isn't the question that you aren't good for the seance. Maybe you just don't mix well with some of the people that are there. The energies of their spirits, their vibration, doesn't quite mix well with yours. So Spirit will throw your energy off. It's not because you're evil or, oh my God, Lou. I have clients that say, oh my God, Lou, this medium can't read me. No medium can read me. Well, sometimes mediums, the energy, the vibration doesn't mix, because if your mother-in-law doesn't want to talk to me and you really want to hear from your mother-in-law, you're probably not going to come to me for a reading, because your mother-in-law doesn't want to talk to me. She doesn't like me. She doesn't like me. She never met me, but she doesn't like me for the spirit world. But she likes somebody else. So she's going to try to get you to go there. But you fight her and you come to my office. And you don't get a message from her, and you get upset because you didn't get a message from your mother-in-law. But your mother-in-law doesn't want to talk to me. She's not going to talk to me. So you get other spirits, you just don't get your mother-in-law. So the question is if you're walking into a space, maybe you're not going to feel well. Maybe you're just not going to feel comfortable there with the vibration. Then go. Say, this isn't going to quite work for me. Then go. Because maybe the person in the protective space, maybe there's energy within the space that's really not extremely powerful for you. No sense of staying. It's the same as when you get a reading, same as when you get seance, it's the same thing. No sense of sitting in a seance for two hours and be completely miserable. Same thing with a reading. You don't want to get a reading and sit in a reading for 45 minutes to an hour and go, oh my God, that was awful. It was like pulling teeth. It was just awful. Don't sit. Give it 10, 15 minutes. But if it doesn't work for you in a seance, it's going to be at the beginning of it. You're not going to feel well. You're going to get upset stomach. You're not going to feel good. You're not going to feel well entering the space, because they didn't attune the space to fit you. So don't feel bad that they didn't attune the space to fit you. You're probably one of the lucky ones that get to get out of there before the crazy goes on. Before the crazy goes on. Because we had a seance one time, and Reverend Nick Sarant was part of the seance, and I was with Nick. And with this gentleman come, and this lady, and they were masters of the seance room. I said, ooh, we're going to have fun. So we go in, but before they got there, me and Nick put little pieces of tape on the chairs. Now, as long as the lights were on, the fluorescent tapes didn't show anything. So what happened is we sat down, lights went out, you didn't see the tapes because everybody was sitting on the tapes. So nobody was moving. But during the seance, where the presenter was that was holding the seance, his tape showed up. He was no longer in his chair. Really? So the trumpet started coming around, and me and Nick was a little bit more forceful than I was, because Nick reached out and run his hand around the trumpet and grabbed the guy's arm and told me to turn the light on. He was sitting in the room doing that. But that to me has never been a part that I want to play, because I don't want Spirit to think that I want to fake it, that I want to just fake it. Because I want to do seances not because I'm going to make money from it, not because I need to produce something. I really want the idea of walking with Spirit, walking with that connection to Spirit. That's true, that true connection. When you see it, when you feel it, you go, oh my God, I was there. I was part of that. That's when it's awesome. Not because it was fake and you get a little disturbed with it. You want it to be awesome. And that's why I try to teach the work of doing a seance room or a cabinet for yourself. So you can sit in the cabinets, you can meditate, you can work with Spirit, allow Spirit to work with you. Remember, as I said, you have all these guides that follow you. Every one of them are following you. You're not going to lose the guides. The guides aren't going to just leave you there and say, well, that crazy Spirit over there is going to get you. We're just going to walk away and let him have his way with you. That's not going to happen. They're going to protect you. That's why they make you sick before you get into the seance room, because they don't want you in that room. They don't want you in there because it doesn't quite fit you. It doesn't fit the vibration for you. If you're going to a seance and you can't get there, your car's broke down, my God, you've run out of gas. It's all hell is breaking loose. Go back home. It's Spirit's way of stopping you from moving forward. But I really hope that this little talk today about seance and working with a seance helps you, because you don't get the attendless seances anymore. I've been trying to set one up in my home for a while, and people come, and then people aren't enthused with it as much as I really want them to sit for 8 weeks and really sit for 8 weeks and work with Spirit. They'll show up for maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks, and all of a sudden something happens. They can't come. The best one I had, we had a seance in the seance room here. We had one. And we had like 9 people in it. And we were doing a seance, and we were doing it. And all of a sudden, money started appearing in the room. Money from the spirit world. These are like $20 bills. There were gold coins. All kinds of stuff happening in the room. Then the next week, some of the people didn't show up. And more money dropped in the room. And then they wanted to come back. And then some people would come and they wouldn't come. But I said, we've got Spirit trying to appear in the room. We've got rocks, minerals, gold coins. We have stuff dropping into the room from apports. And what apports are things where Spirit actually apports something from somewhere else and drops it in your space. Drops it. Drops it. Whether it be a rock, a coin, a stone. I have some things here that were apported into a seance room. I have an Egyptian bracelet from Cairo that got dropped into a seance room in Miami. It's in my room. I keep it here. Hopefully they don't apport it somewhere else, but I keep it in my room. But they're apport things. It's like, before we go into question and answers or Q&A, the other night was my wife's birthday. Yeah. So I got 2 beautiful heart stones, and I placed them on the table with her card. So in the middle of the night, all the lights started flashing in the house. The craziness was going on. So I got up, looked around, the lights went back to normal. I went back to bed, got up in the morning, and one of the hearts are gone. And I asked my wife, I said, did you take the heart? Did you move the heart? She goes, no. We looked all over the floor, everywhere. No heart. So one of the hearts are gone. Now, if they apported it somewhere, took it somewhere, it'll eventually probably show up back in our house, but it wasn't there. And nobody else was in the house with me and my wife. But the stone is that heart is nowhere to be found. It was apported out of here. So I think that's kind of, see, Spirit will do things, and they'll bring it back to you. They will apport things out of your house. Apport, and they'll bring them back. I think it's because they don't have it on the other side. They want to use it for a little while, and they take them. It's like my mother-in-law took her pearl necklace for 5 years. She took it. It left our house, and we knew it was where it was supposed to be. It wasn't there anymore. Then one night we came home, and sitting right on the dresser was the black box with the pearls in it. And that dresser had nothing on it. all of a sudden that black box was sitting there. So for me to believe in spirit, I do. I believe they have a way of communicating with us. But find your space, find your comfortable space, and figure out exactly what you really want to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put us in Q&A. If you have any questions you want to ask me, on the seance, or even just any question, just ask me, and I have a lot of knowledge. I can help you if there's a question you really want to ask me, because I'm... Yes. Hello.
Hello. So, quick question. Oh, sorry, I was hearing an echo. You mentioned your cabinet that you use for your meditation space. Are you talking like, and I think I've seen a picture of it online, but are you talking like a physical cabinet that you made like with like plywood or something?
No.
Or are you talking about a space that you carved out?
This is like having, what I did was I put up a rod across a corner of the room and put up a black curtain, just so I could block off that little corner of the room. That's all.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Just blocking off the corner of the room. That's all.
Okay.
That's all.
Gotcha. I was just looking for clarification on that. Thanks.
It's just putting up a curtain, putting up something in the corner of a room. Closets, walk-in closets work really well. They work really well because there's no windows. You close the door on a closet, you're in a darkened space. And if you don't have a lot of crazy in a closet, then the closet works really well. Closet works really well to sit in a walk-in closet. It works really extremely well. It does.
Okay. I might have to do that. I was trying to think of like where I could space it out in my house.
Because I have a friend of mine that he took curtains all the way around a big hula hoop. And he rolled up the hula hoop, kept it in the closet, had a string on top of it, and had it hooked together. And he would hook it up on a hook up on the ceiling. The curtains would drop down, the hula hoop, he'd set a chair in that little space, and that was his cabinet. And when he wasn't using it, he'd just take it off the hook of the ceiling, he'd drop it back down, put it in the closet with his chair, and that was his little space. That works too.
Oh, that's clever. That's clever.
That works too.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Elizabeth.
Hey, Louis.
How you doing?
Hey, good. So my question is, so if you pick your guides when you're on the other side, and then would they be the ones most likely to show up in a seance?
Usually guides will show up, but usually it's people that are associated with you. And this includes people that I truly believe in past lives. So I believe that people that have appeared in past lives, somebody could actually show up in the seance that had a past life with you, an incarnation with you, that wants to speak to you, Guides will show up.
So they don't necessarily have to be your guide then. It could just be someone that wants to.
It doesn't have to really necessarily be, doesn't necessarily need to be your guides. It needs to it's just going to be people that have a strong association with you. Because my guides will show up in a seance room, my father shows up, my mother shows up, my brother shows up. My animals that I've had show up in the seance room. You'll hear them rushing around on the floor. So it's who is associated with me that, as I said, state to your people what you would like to see before you sit in the seance room. Before you sit, kind of tell them, I'd really like to see you, Mom. I'd like to speak to you, Mom, or Dad, or who would you like to speak to? Who would you like to speak to? And then allow them to try to pull close, or at least pull into the seance room with you, or into your personal space. And then you're actually going to feel them. You're going to feel some kind of energy with them. And I said, like, the mirror on the wall, in your space, I have a little mirror in my little corner of the cabinet. But by sitting in front of that mirror, I actually see Spirit walking through the mirror, walking in the mirror. So it's kind of really cool. It's really cool, them walking in the mirror. You can actually see them. And I think
so can one so your guides are there to guide you, and I guess you pick guides you think are smarter than you, or
Usually your gatekeeper, your physician, and your alchemist are the ones that have followed you through lifetimes. They know you better than you know yourself. They know where you've been, what you've done, what you need to do in this lifetime, what obstacles, what situations you have to go through. So they have a good idea of what obstacles and situations you need to go through in this lifetime, so they're there to help you because they have the information. See, you might have knew what the obstacles were before you got here, but once you passed into this earth plane and you were born here, then all of a sudden you forgot. But your guides remember exactly what they told you you had to come up with. So now you are connected to those three guides. Now, as you progress in this earth plane, as you get more spiritual, connected to spiritual growth, and you move higher, some of your guides will fade off because they can't teach you anymore. They can't help you anymore because they're not at that level. So new guides will appear. They will appear in the vibration. These are also guides that have followed you through lifetimes that have a knowledge of that level of understanding at that point. So they'll be there until you reach to another level. And then they will move off and higher teachers will show up. Higher teachers. Now, if you end up with being these master teachers around you, you have accomplished a lot on this earth plane if you have all master teachers around you. But now I haven't met anybody yet that has all master teachers around them. We have different guides, different vibrations that follow us, but that is what happens. But our guides will change, not the three main guides, but a lot of the guides will change through our lifetime because our kindergarten teacher can't teach us high school math. Taught us kindergarten, not high school math. So now we have to get a new teacher to teach us some other subjects that we need at this point in our lives. So the new guides will show up to help you in that endeavor. But the three guides, the main guides that you picked, they will see you on the other side. They will be, when you open your eyes on the other side, there will be loved ones, there will be people there to greet you, but you'll also see your three guides. And they will be like the three musketeers. They've been through your lifetimes with you, through every lifetime, every incarnation that you've been on this earth plane.
Great, thank you.
Okay?
Yeah.
Next week, remember, I'm going to be speaking. Next week, I'm going to talk a lot about spirituality and connection. But a lot of next week, too, is I'm going to have a lot of question and answers. I have a lot of information that I can share. So you guys, I want to do a lot of questions and answers next week. So if you have some dying questions you'd like to ask me about your spiritual work, what's going on with your spiritual work, what's connecting to you, what you would like to know something about, I have a lot of knowledge about all the years I've been into this, so I can share my knowledge with you next week on a subject that you would like to know about. And so I'm going to put in a question and answer at the beginning of the thing. And if you have a question, you say, oh, Louis, I'd really like to know more information about this. I can probably just pick that out because I know quite a bit about stuff. So, and I can help you on your journey. I can help you on your journey because I know some of you call in and you're here, but you might have something in your journey that you don't really know about something and you would like to have more information, and I can share that with you on a one-to-one basis here on the show, on the vibration, and then that way a way to give you the information so you have the information. So you have it, so you can work on it in your life. But find your space in your home, find your little corner, and start meditating with your guides. And when you start seeing the etheric clouds, you're getting there. You are getting to the point where you're just about ready to walk where they walk. And it's really cool. It's really cool. And I hope to see you all next week. And I will announce on my website what I'm doing next week. But it's going to be a small talk, and then we're going to be in question and answer for quite a bit of the show. Okay? And I want to thank each and every one of you for showing up today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.